Good evening. My name is Daniel Young. I am the owner and founder of Adapted Perspective and the Adapted Perspective social media platforms. And I am back to talking about financial memes and how we can use just some everyday down to earth common sense in evaluating the different financial memes or memes in general that people put online. This is an unedited video. Who knows what you'll hear in the background as I film these in some place other than my house. I am not a financial advisor. I am a financial strategist, and I don't speak like the herd. I walk in limited company, and sometimes I walk alone. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I love strategy and targeted strategy, and that awareness is key because I'm going to keep sifting through these financial memes using our strategies along with just some everyday down to earth common sense. And it's not my goal to slander anybody. I'm just hyper aware and very interested in separating the good from the bad when it comes to financial advice because none of us want bad financial advice as we navigate our finances. So if we head to the Pinterest page, which pretty much every platform I have has this background associated with it, we're back to operating off the income means. And towards the bottom, you'll see this meme, which on its own looks like this. And you can read my description, which I wrote this description a while ago, but you can read my description. And for a guy who works in within education or within the platform or confines, however you want to see the profession of education, I tell students all the time that the stereotype against the educational system at large is that the system at large takes highly creative people and funnels them into a box of very non-creative people. And if you recall The Simpsons and the exact progression of Homer's day from opening bell to closing bell, lunch in between, breaks when needed, that's the school day. We teach kids to arrive by a certain time, to check in, to be responsible enough to be inside the building. The unruly kids, who would be the unruly adults, as adults, they're fired. As kids, you mess up enough, you go to in school suspension or out of school suspension, right? You have punishments associated with how well you do your job of being a student. But as adults, those are the people who get fired. You don't show up in time, you get fired. You don't do your work on time, you get fired. You behave like shit, you get fired. But we're teaching kids to have that type of work ethic, or at least that type of schedule, to where they show up by a certain time, do their job, have lunch, have a little bit of social time at school, and then leave by a certain time. And sadly, that's what schools become. Um, I don't, I don't remember the exact. Uh, I don't remember who this quote is attributed, but um, we need to get back to teaching kids how to think and not what to think. And like I said on this meme, it's we teach you to be professionally smart and financially stupid, right? We cannot pay for all the government spending without a growing middle class. But how we've structured this country has been an assault on the middle class. But we're also furthering or maybe further dividing or winnowing out the middle class because we're not teaching financial literacy. The school age kids, like secondary school kids, have limited knowledge of how taxes work and insurance and don't understand how to balance a checkbook. We have seniors that are just like ball over your head when it comes to supply and demand. Like they just cannot make sense of it. And we're releasing those newbie adults to either go to college or join the workforce with very little financial literacy. And they're extremely gullible. And regardless of intelligence, they're just not that educationally smart. Like it's one thing to have a college degree, but that doesn't automatically make you smarter than somebody else. We teach kids that they have to have all these diplomas. And just like the meme says, it's we're creating people who are smart enough to accurately repeat what they've been told and follow orders, maybe from somebody who doesn't actually believe in the system they're teaching. We have professors teaching communism and Marxism and labeling capitalism as bad. We have professors teaching that capitalism is the same as corporatism. And we cannot civilly debate. And I have text going off, and I don't know who it is. But we're not teaching our kid. Well, we're teaching our kids, but we're not teaching our kids anything helpful. And the limits of modern education is you have to be wise enough to know when you're being lied to. But we're not teaching our kids to think for themselves. We're taking very creative kids and forcing them into an expected box and not teaching them about life or how to talk with people or how to reason. Right? If I said, hey, like I saw a video on uh, can we agree that 2 plus 2 is 4? And the response was, what if it doesn't equal 4? 2 plus 2 is 4. How did you come to that conclusion? Good night. I've had so many spam calls today. It's ridiculous. Um, but now there's debate upon existing standards. And maybe that's not a bad thing, right? We should be able to debate and civilly debate. But we're looking at 1 plus 1 equals 2 or 2 plus 2 equals 4. Well, how did you come to that answer? Because 2 plus 2 equals 4. Why doesn't it equal 5? Because that would be 2 plus 3. And there's debate and actual pushback about uh, someone's knowledge regarding um, explicitly known tenets, like whichever party you are, whatever your cultural beliefs are, whether you're a globalist or a nationalist or anything in between, 2 plus 2 is 4. But if you ask the right person, they'll come back with a different answer and they'll believe it's that other answer. The education system has failed that kid. Either they've taught them the wrong thing or they've allowed that kid to believe that the answer can be anything. And it's one thing to be able to think for yourself. It's quite another to purposefully teach ignorance. And I say all of this because it relates to finances. It relates to your finances as a parent. It relates to your finances as a young adult. If you're going to college, who you pay to educate your student matters. What are they teaching them? What aren't they teaching them? And as a young kid, if you're paying your own way through college, if no one is teaching you about the economy, if you're not reading Thomas Sowell, if you're not reading insanely intellectual, known financial minds, if you're taking economics and have never actually studied economics, that's a problem. If you're actually working your way through college, which I went to a small college, we never had a financial literacy class that is detrimental to your student population. That's not helpful for society at large. My graduate studies never had a financial literacy class. That's the same problem. Regardless of age, which most are just older kids, that's detrimental for society. It's one thing to be able to balance a business's budget. It's quite another if you can balance your budget and pay your debts and save money and do something with it. So our modern education system, you need to know what's happening. You need to be involved. You need to be aware. Who is teaching your kids and what they're teaching your kids is insanely important from K through 12, as well as, say, junior college, undergrad, grad school, doctoral work. All of it should be under high review. All of it is important to your development as a young adult. And if none of those entities, none of those groups is teaching financial math, just basic financial math, then we are raising a dumb population. And you will pay for it. You will pay you'll get screwed with what you pay for college or paying for your kid's college. But you'll also get screwed because now your kid has no financial background unless you're teaching your kid financial literacy at home. The government does not operate without the middle class. And whether big government, small government, that's not my point. All the stuff that our government does, the good and the bad, does not occur without a strong middle class. And currently, we are winnowing out the middle class, both in practice of how affordable the middle class is, but also in intelligence. A dumb middle class is gullible, and we can lead our country in a lot of bad places. But a financially strong, financially sound middle class is a benefit to society and a benefit for the government because it keeps the government in check. So that's all I got. If you like, and I get it's a very different content. It's a little more politically laced, but maybe that's just the times and it's election. It's soon to be early election season. But regardless, if you like my content, consider subscribing to my channel, hit the like button, and then head over to Facebook and check out my group there called Navigate Your Finances. Just remember, you're the captain of your ship, and it is your duty to educate the people on your boat about financial literacy. Your kids, your adopted kids, niece, nephews, whoever's on the boat with you, it is your job to educate your crew about your individual journey as a crew, as well as prepare your crew members to take on the responsibility and ownership of their own boat. If you don't do that, you bear the consequences and you have a hand in their success, but you also have a hand in their failure. So do your job, right? Do your job, be a good captain, lead your crew, and teach your crew. So whatever you have, it's not going to happen on its own. It will not simply manifest on its own because you think about it. You have to actually do something about it. So whatever it is that you're doing for you, or whatever it is that you're doing for your crew, make it happen. This is Daniel Young signing off. I will see y'all in another video. Bye-bye.